Just talk about Jonathan. What you see out of him offensively? What's he bring to the table for you guys?
You know, the one thing that I noticed about the kid is he's such a hard worker. You know, he's committed and dedicated, and he really tries to hang on details. But I just like the self-motivation of the kid. I'll tell you an interesting story. He fumbled against Vanderbilt twice. And then on Monday, he's out there running through the blaster on his day off with no pads on. I mean, he's in school clothes, and he's running through the blaster. And I can hear it, and there's not a single coach out there, there's not another player, and he's running through the blaster to get better. And then obviously the next game he didn't put the ball on the ground. But when you see a kid that's, you know, working like that and is committed like that, I mean, you can't help but, you know, you want to pull for him and encourage that kid.
When you say school clothes, he was wearing jeans and
He was in
Abercrombie
shorts.
sweatshirt,
He was in what he came right out of class in. He was in some shorts and just a light T-shirt, and he was out there running through the blaster. I was shocked, to be honest. I mean, because let me tell you, it's hard to get players to run through that blaster in full pads because it's meant to make you fumble. That's why they make the machine, and he was self-punishing himself, I guess. But he was getting it done, and it sounded like he was taking care of it. And the good thing about it is it looked like he was mimicking the plays, like he was reading his own read and then running through the blaster the same way he fumbled the ball. You know? And that's, as a coach, you love to see a guy out there trying to better his craft every day.
Offensive players have raved about him all year long, not just this week.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Slade, Trey Mason, a lot of guys, especially about his intangibles. Does he just have that it factor that you don't normally see in a true freshman?
It really does. You know, he has that it factor around him as far as his presence when he comes in. You know, even when he's calling a play in the huddle, he sounds like he's been doing it all his life. And I can promise you he hadn't. But he does. He really has that about him. And he's always encouraging for the next guy. I mean, I don't care what's going on or how bad a day he's had or, you know, how bad a play was for him. He's encouraging the next guy, whether it's a bad snap, whether it's a receiver dropping a ball or a guy missing a block. I mean, the first voice or one of the first voices you hear is him, you know, and this was before he was even playing. And the great thing about him is nothing has changed. He's still the same guy that was, you know, encouraging guys when, you know, he wasn't the starter, just how to roll, you know, so that's encouraging to see too.
Hindsight will be 20/20, and Gene kind of alluded to that too, but with all these raving comments that a lot of the players and you coaches have had about him, why didn't this change happen sooner?
Because still there's no substitute for experience. I mean, it's easy to say, yeah, go back now and look and put him in there, but you still had to go with the guys that had earned their way during spring and that put time in during summer, other workouts and things that they brought to the table going into it. But the one thing that every freshman knows is that they have an opportunity, and he kept competing, and that you got to tip your hat to that kid to continue to work the way that he did. And did it take some time to learn the playbook and be able to put all those things together? Yeah. He wouldn't have been ready the first game, no matter how many intangibles he had. But I think with what he's gone through and what the team has gone through, the spark that he's brought to the table is great for the football team. Now, trust me, it's still going to be different when you're taking every snap as opposed to 5 or 6. And that team is preparing for you as opposed to preparing for you for 2 or 3 plays. So, you know, I like the idea that he's going to be out there, but he's still going to find out and go through an experience of being the starting quarterback at an SEC school.
You talked about guys earning their role through special teams. How much has Ricardo done that kind of as the season's gone along?
Really, I've been really impressed with that because you saw him make tackles on the kickoff, but there's some deals where he's just supposed to hold a gap, and he's done a great job of that, where it's not designed for him to make that tackle, but to free up a teammate so that he can make the tackle. And normal freshmen don't want that. They want to make the tackle themselves, and he's been good about that. And you know, he showed some maturity in doing that, which the more he's played in the game, the better he's gotten, even on special teams. And now his role on offense is obviously increasing.
You're in that receiver room. They're now on their third starting quarterback of the season. Can you talk a little bit to the difficulty of that as a receiver? It's obviously less than ideal.
Right. You know, anytime with timing and things like that, but, you know, even they are excited. just because they like Jonathan Wallace, and not that they don't like the other quarterbacks, but just to try to help another team and be encouraged with, there's some spark to it. They're excited about the opportunities that he gives them, and, he and Emory connected on the touchdown pass, and, as a receiver, obviously that excites you. But the one thing that you're going to see, that all of those quarterbacks and all those receivers and tailbacks and offensive players, they're a close group. I mean, they hurt for Kyle and for Clint both, but at the same time, they're also going to cheer for their brother and encourage no matter who you put back there at quarterback. And that's what I love about this team. You watch and see those guys stick together.
Take a few more.
Trooper, on Monday, Danny Sheridan made comments about assistant coaches being pulled off the road and that this program is under NCAA investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any comment to those accusations?
Obviously, really, we can't comment on accusations, but I can tell you this: we have a plan in place for recruiting, and we stick to that plan. And what this coaching staff is focused on right now, outside of recruiting, is winning a football game. And so that's where we are on that.
Anything else? All right, Coach, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Okay, Coach Luber over here will put Coach Huffler.
Where's that? What'd you dress up as?